Welcome to JIT-TVzw News Bulletin, where we bring you daily news, information, current affairs, business and investment, as well as finance and what is happening in the world of stock markets and global economics. Entertainment is our business. News on multiple platforms for all Zimbabweans and all Africans on one channel. The time is here. Isikhathi sifikile. Now let's take a look at what's happening on your headlines this hour. Palestine lobbies Zimbabwe and the African Union to reject Israeli observer status at the continental body, saying that the country is no different from an apartheid regime. British-based Tullow Oil is set to invest millions in its Kenyan operation amid the company's plans for commercial oil production. Zambian referee Jenny Sikazwe narrates his gruesome day in the office at the Africa Cup of Nations that made him hit the headlines in January. Your leading story this hour: Palestine is pinning its hopes on Zimbabwe to object and reject a unilateral decision to grant Israel observer status during the oncoming 35th ordinary session of the Assembly of Heads of State and Government of the African Union that begins on Saturday. Israel was contentiously granted observer status by the African Commission last year, a decision most member states are now opposed to. Addressing journalists in Harare, Palestinian ambassador to Zimbabwe Taima Al-Masri says the objection will serve as a stark reminder that colonial occupation, racism and endemic violations of international law, which continue to shackle Palestine, must not be rewarded or appeased. He further said that Palestine have a long common history in the struggle, and they believe that Zimbabwe, with the other countries, will defend the reputation of the African Union by loudly rejecting Israeli membership in the African Union. Al-Masri calls upon Zimbabwe and Palestine to hold on to their solidarity and not to forget the national movements during the common struggle against the apartheid regime before 1980 in Zimbabwe and against the Israeli apartheid occupation. Adding to that, Ambassador Al-Masri also laments that Africa should not ignore the fact that Israel was copying from the apartheid regimes in Zimbabwe and South Africa before they both collapsed in 1980 and 1994 respectively, so Africa should not entertain or accept an apartheid regime. Moving on to your other news, President of Malawi, Lazarus Chakwera, sworn in new government this week after his surprise sacking of 7 ministers last week over graft concerns. At the swearing-in ceremony, Chakwera warns the new government against corruption, saying that must not accept a gift in exchange for using office to give someone preferential treatment in the administration of public service. Malawi President names new cabinet after graft scandals which led to civic and religious groups pressuring him to take bold control of his cabinet after a number of his ministers were embroiled in corruption scandals. Therefore, he sacked the entire 33-member cabinet elected in 2020 on a campaign to fight corruption in the Southern African country, but most were reappointed 2 days later, and the new lineup includes only 2 new faces. However, the president named a prominent businessman and politician Mark Katsonga Phiri to the trade ministry, while ruling party loyalist Sam Kawale takes over as lands minister, replacing Msukwa. Meanwhile, the Malawian police arrested a former finance minister and an ex-central bank chief for fabricating figures in a bid to impress the International Monetary Fund. Joseph Mnwakamvega and Reserve Bank of Malawi former Governor Dalitso Kabambe were accused of cooking the books to secure a loan from a Washington-based development and crisis lender. Well, coming up next is JIT-TV Business News.
Time marches on, never ending. Time keeps its own time. Here we stand at beginning, and end goes passing us by. And I can't dream for us all. I hope I'm in a better state when here and now crumbles and falls, and you who make worlds collide. I knew you'd come knocking one day.
Yeah, baby, yeah!
On your business news this hour, the Harare headquartered Zimbabwean manufacturing company Elmin Metal Industries Limited is all set to open 3 new branches in March 2022 as part of its drive for business expansion. In 1969, Elmin Metal Industry was founded while the company is in the business of manufacturing and supply of aluminium profiles for architecture, irrigation, and general engineering purposes. The metal products produces, owns, and operates an aluminium extrusion facility in Harare, and it is the only one in Zimbabwe that has vertically integrated aluminium processing capabilities comprising of an extrusion plant and metal finishing operations such as anodizing and powder coating. However, the company also has a branch in Bulawayo, and the other new branches will be in Gweru, Kwekwe, and Mutare. Furthermore, National Sales Manager of Elmin Industries, Ntombizoto Mhlophe, says the company was on an expansion drive as it targets to open 3 new branches this year, and a new branch will be opened in Gweru in February. In April, they also intend to open another one in Mutare, and in August, another one in Kwekwe. Mhlophe adds that the expansion was inspired by the desire to boost domestic production and drive exports of aluminium products to countries like Zambia and Botswana. Alongside the top commodity exporter of the nation, the metals processing sector is one of the key economic pillars in the country, and Elmin Industry was producing its own aluminium products, while most of its competitors were importing finished products for resale. Moving on to other news, Tullow Oil is set to invest $5 million in its Kenyan operation this year as it gears up for commercial oil production. The announcement comes at a time when Tullow is eyeing a strategic partner to help implement a development plan for oil production in Turkana. This firm, which has spent more than $1 billion to prospect for oil and develop wells in Kenya, has seen its annual spending fall significantly over the recent years as it continues to shift focus from exploration to production. Tullow, which entered Kenya in 2010, presented its long-awaited revised development plan for oil production for approval last December. This will pave the way for planned development of a pipeline and oil processing facility in basin that includes $3.4 billion investment for upstream activities. However, Kenya had set a December 2021 deadline for Tullow to present a comprehensive investment plan for oil production in Turkana or risk losing concession on 2 exploration fields in the area. Coming up next is JIT-TV Sports News with Denise Pine.
Local innovation with a global recognition. It's JIT-TV.
Shout out to you, the viewer. Shout out to all our advertisers for supporting this incredible channel, JIT-TV. If you want to participate, if you want to attach your quality product to all our quality brands, get in touch with us here at JIT-TV. Also support the razzmatazz, and we will surely give you value for your money. Indeed, that's what we do.
It's JIT-TV, just in time.
Hello and welcome viewers, my name is Denise Pan and you're watching JIT-TV Sports and Entertainment News. In your sports news this hour, Zambian referee JIT-TVzw says he almost died on the pitch and he started getting confused, resulting in his failure to hear anybody during the Africa Cup of Nations group stage match between Mali and Tunisia. The FIFA accredited official hit the headlines on January 12th when he ended the Group F game prematurely and blew the final whistle in the 85th minute. However, after being confronted by the Eagles of Carthage bench and players who were trailing 1-0 at the time, he realized his mistake only to finish the game before the end of regulation time once more a few minutes later. Speaking to journalists, TVzw reveals that he had seen people going for duties outside the country and coming back in a casket, and he was very close to coming back like that, only to be lucky that he did not go into a coma. The 42-year-old also explained how the weather conditions in Cameroon affected him on that day, citing that it was so hot and the humidity was about 85%. The referee ended the narration of his unfortunate day with how he started getting confused during the match and could not hear anybody, to the point that he could start hearing some noise and he thought someone was communicating with him, which led him to end the match before the actual stoppage time. In other sports news, the president of the Cameroonian Football Federation, Samuel Eto'o, has come to the assistance of Zimbabwean superfan Alvin Aluva-Jakata, who is in hospital in Cameroon. Aluva, who is the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations superfan, collapsed after the AFCON clash between Malawi and Morocco last week, but could not afford the expenses to allow further medical tests to be conducted on him. Some African journalists in Cameroon led a campaign to have CAF help out Aluva, but to no avail. The African football legend and former Barcelona and Chelsea striker later headed the call. Aluva tweeted yesterday saying that Samuel Eto'o had paid his hospital bill and footed all costs for medical tests and everything, and he was so grateful. Eto's gesture touched the hearts of many who commented on Aluva's tweet expressing their gratitude. Aluva made history by traveling from Cape to Cairo by road for the 2019 Africa Cup of Nations edition to support the Zimbabwe Warriors. Due to delays on some borders, he eventually arrived when the Warriors had already been eliminated from the tournament. CAF paid for his flight back home and also gave him a VIP ticket to watch the final. And this brings us to the end of your sports and entertainment news on JIT-TV this hour. Coming up next is the JIT-TV Weather Report.
Well, this brings us to the end of our JITS television news at this hour. Stay tuned to JITS TV as we bring you the best in entertainment news, information, analysis, sports, business, and all the headlines of the day. And do stay in touch on Twitter, Facebook, and our website, www.jit-tv.tv, and leave a comment. My name is Nogutsula Shabalala Intombi Yagwamshengu. See you same time tomorrow and stay connected. Cheers.